Ryan Day has a new contract at Ohio State that's going to pay him a lot of money for a really long time. More than $12 million a year through 2031. That's a lot of money to invest into a coach, and he's earned it. He led Ohio State to a national championship. And when the news came out on Thursday, there was this big reaction from a large swath of Michigan fans who were over the moon excited that the guy that supposedly can't beat the Wolverines is going to be at Ohio State for supposedly 7 more seasons. That's what the contract is for. And these Michigan fans reveled in the news that Ryan Day got a contract extension, is going to remain the Ohio State head coach for what appears is years to come. And I say appears as if crazier things have happened than him not coaching Ohio State until 2031. If he wants to go to the NFL, the wheels fall off, something major happens inside the program that he's responsible for. All sorts of things can happen that lead him to not be the head coach anymore. But the consensus for Michigan fans was this is the greatest news they could have ever gotten. And I think that's probably the incorrect way to look at it. And it's basically for one reason and one reason only. Michigan fans were just here. They were just in the same situation. They are just coming off of a coach who the biggest knock against him was couldn't beat Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh, year after year after year, tried, and some years was really close. J.T. Barrett did get the first down, but were really close to beating Ohio State. And then there were years they were really far away from beating Ohio State, where they just got drilled. And so, you know what Jim Harbaugh did? He reshaped and reimagined his program in a spot to where he thought, I don't care if we are building a program that is good enough to beat everybody else in the country and win the national championship. I'm going to put together a program that is designed to beat Ohio State. And if we are designed to beat Ohio State and we're designed to be better than Ohio State and be good enough to beat Ohio State, we are likely to be in a spot to be able to beat everybody else and win the national championship. And that's what happened. So like Michigan fans have experience in being in this avenue where you have a coach who can't beat the one team you want them / need them to beat. Ohio State fans were in that spot where they were cheering Jim Harbaugh getting a contract extension. Thank the Lord, this buffoon who can't beat Ohio State is getting a contract extension. And then the tables turn. And then things are different to where now Michigan, to their credit, owns the rivalry. Now that's their bragging rights, because real champion wins all of their games and goes undefeated and wins the Big Ten and beats their rivals, because then they can say that their national championship was somehow superior to Ohio State's. That's not generally how championships work. But that's neither here nor there. Michigan now is in control of the rivalry. All because they stuck with the guy who couldn't beat the rival. You just watched this play out in the rivalry. And so if you were to ask, I think, the average college football fan, pundit, whatever, who is more primed to dominate the rivalry going forward? Who is more primed to win this game continually, to put the other coach in a spot to where they are constantly answering questions about when they're going to win the game again? I don't think the majority would say it's Sharon Moore. Did Ohio State have a really bad game against Michigan in 2024? Absolutely, undeniably. It's, in my argument and estimation, the only game of Ryan Day's career as the head coach of Ohio State that he had no business losing. So one at a time that he's done this. It just is unfortunate that it comes against the one team that you can't have that happen. But I think that if you think Ryan Day being Ohio State's head coach for the next 7 seasons ensures a decade of dominance for the Wolverines in the game, I think you're a bit short-sighted / illogical / maybe slightly kind of dumb. We just watched this happen. And yet, the idea that you haven't gone, oh, well, wait a second. The guy who just led his team to a national championship but hasn't been able to beat us the last 4 years got an extension. Generally, just how this works. You don't win the national championship and your recruiting gets worse. You don't win the national championship and things start to just dramatically fall off for you. I think despite the hubris, despite the results even, I think Michigan fans should be much more concerned about Ryan Day being the head coach at Ohio State for the next couple of seasons than they currently are, because the reaction was kind of like the inverse of when the Wicked Witch of the West died. And Munchkinland, Michigan, the people went nuts. They think this is the greatest thing that could ever happen to them. And I don't know that that's the case. And maybe in late November, I'll be sitting here picking crow out of my teeth thinking, oh, God, how did I ever think that Michigan should have been concerned that Ryan Day stays their head coach? But I think it's a lot more likely than not that at the end of that contract, or that the end of Ryan Day's tenure as the Ohio State head coach, that you look at him more like, God, I wish that guy hadn't coached there that long, rather than the 2020s version of John Cooper. I think it's significantly more likely that you look at Ryan Day from an Ohio State perspective and a Michigan perspective much more as if, I'm glad that guy was our coach for as long as he was, rather than how in the hell was that guy our coach as long as he was, a la John Cooper. I feel an almost certainty to that. But that's just the thoughts from my brain. I want to hear from you. Are you a Michigan fan? Tell me your excitement that Ryan Day is going to stay the Ohio State head coach. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Would love to have that conversation with you, because I think you're wrong. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get on the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode.